welcome to the Harry Potter quiz from Pottermore Publishing and Audible. Ah, yes, I remember. You were playing for Gryffindor on NEWT level. Oh, and it's double points day. The perfect time to play. Okay, here are your 3 questions for today. If you need more time, just say repeat. Question 1. Which of the 7 Harry Potter audiobooks does this passage come from?
Harry witnessed Professor McGonagall walking right past Peeves, who was determinedly loosening a crystal chandelier, and could have sworn he heard her tell the poltergeist out of the corner of her mouth, "It unscrews the other way."
Which audiobook do you think that was?
Deathly Hallows. Deathly Hallows.
It's Book 5, The Order of the Phoenix. That's incorrect. That was a tricky one. Question 2. Which magical object is this?
"Can I have that?"
Alexa.
interrupted Draco.
The Hand of Glory.
"Ah, the Hand of Glory," said Mr. Borgin, abandoning Mr. Malfoy's list and scurrying over to Draco. "Insert a candle, and it gives light only to the holder. Best friend of thieves and plunderers. Your son has fine taste, sir."
Gulping gargoyles. You're right. That's 20 points. Question 3. Which of the 7 Harry Potter audiobooks does this passage come from?
Dragons comprised entirely of green and gold sparks were soaring up and down the corridors, emitting loud fiery blasts and bangs as
Alexa.
they went.
Repeat.
Question 3. Which of the 7 Harry Potter audiobooks does
Alexa.
this passage come from?
Order of the Phoenix.
It's Book 5, The Order of the Phoenix. Gulping gargoyles. You're right. That's 20 points. Quills down. You scored 2 out of 3 today, earning 40 points. It's double points today, so you've actually earned 80 points for Gryffindor. Well done. You're in the top 2,000 players. Your score is 820. Looking at today's house standings, Gryffindor is currently 3rd on the leaderboard. The Tri-Wizard Tournament is about to start. Don't miss any of the action. Would you like to listen to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
Yes.
Great! First you'll hear a short message, followed by your sample.
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Book 4 can be yours free when you start an Audible Premium Plus 30-day trial. Each month, pick one title to keep from everything Audible offers and enjoy listening to the thousands of titles included in the Audible Plus catalog. Membership automatically renews at $14.95 per month plus tax. Cancel anytime. Terms in your Alexa app. Would you like to start an Audible Premium Plus trial?
No.
Okay, here's a sample. If you change your mind, just ask me to join Audible.
This is Audible.
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. Read by Jim Day. Brought to you by Pottermore Publishing.
Chapter 1. The Riddle House. The villagers of Little Haggleton still called it the Riddle House, even though it had been many years since the Riddle family had lived there. It stood on a hill overlooking the village, some of its windows boarded, tiles missing from its roof, and ivy spreading unchecked over its face. Once a fine-looking manor, and easily the largest and grandest building for miles around, the Riddle House was now damp, derelict, and unoccupied. The little Hangletons all agreed that the old house was creepy. Half a century ago, something strange and horrible had happened there, something that the older inhabitants of the village still liked to discuss when topics for gossip were scarce. The story had been picked over so many times and had been embroidered in so many places that nobody was quite sure what the truth was anymore. Every version of the tale, however, started in the same place. 50 years before, at daybreak on a fine summer's morning, when the Riddle house had still been well kept and impressive, a maid had entered the drawing room to find all 3 Riddles dead. The maid had run screaming down the hill into the village and roused as many people as she could. "Lying there with their eyes wide open, cold as ice, still in their dinner things." The police were summoned, and the whole of Little Hangleton had seethed with shocked curiosity and ill-disguised excitement. Nobody wasted their breath pretending to feel very sad about the Riddles, for they had been most unpopular. Elderly Mr. and Mrs. Riddle had been rich, snobbish, and rude, and their grown-up son Tom had been, if anything, worse. All the villagers cared about was the identity of their murderer, for plainly 3 apparently healthy people did not all drop dead of natural causes on the same night. The Hanged Man, the village pub, did a roaring trade that night. The whole village seemed to have turned out to discuss the murders. They were rewarded for leaving their firesides when the Riddle's cook arrived dramatically in their midst and announced to the suddenly silent pub that a man called Frank Bryce had just been arrested. "Frank?" cried several people. "Never!" Frank Bryce was the Riddle's gardener. He lived alone in a run-down cottage on the grounds of the Riddle house. Frank had come back from the war with a very stiff leg and a great dislike of crowds and loud noises, and had been working for the Riddles ever since. There was a rush to buy the cook drinks and hear more details. "Always thought he was odd," she told the eagerly listening villagers after her 4th sherry. "Unfriendly like. I'm sure if I've offered him a couple once, I've offered it 100 times. Never wanted to mix, he didn't." "Ah, no," said a woman at the bar. "He had a hard war, Frank. He likes the quiet life. That's no reason to—" "Who else had a key to the back door then?" barked the cook. "There's been a spare key hanging in the gardener's cottage far back as I can remember. Nobody forced the door last night. No broken windows. All Frank had to do was creep up to the big house while we was all sleeping." The villagers exchanged dark looks. "I always thought he had a nasty look about him, right enough," grunted a man at the bar. "War turned him funny, if you ask me," said the landlord. "Told you I wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of Frank, didn't I, Dot?" said an excited woman in the corner. "Horrible temper," said Dot, nodding fervently. "I remember when he was a kid." By the following morning, hardly anyone in Little Hangleton doubted that Frank Bryce had killed the Riddles. But over in the neighbouring town of Great Hangleton, in the dark and dingy police station, Frank was stubbornly repeating again and again that he was innocent, and that the only person he had seen near the house on the day of the Riddles' deaths had been a teenage boy, a stranger, dark-haired and pale. Nobody else in the village had seen any such boy, and the police were quite sure that Frank had invented him. Then, just when things were looking very serious for Frank, the report on the Riddles' bodies came back and changed everything. The police had never read an odder report. A team of doctors had examined the bodies and had concluded that none of the Riddles had been poisoned, stabbed, shot, strangled, suffocated, or, as far as they...
That's the end of your sample. Get Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, book 4 free when you start an Audible Premium Plus 30-day trial. Each month, pick one title to keep from everything Audible offers and enjoy listening to the thousands of titles included in the Audible Plus catalog. Membership automatically renews at $14.95 per month plus tax. Cancel anytime. Terms in your Alexa app. Would you like to start an Audible Premium Plus trial?
No.
Okay. If you change your mind, you can join Audible at audible.com.